Hello everyone, welcome to yet another session with me. Today we are going to be looking at program development. In our previous lessons we talked about the concept of algorithm design and flowcharting. Now this algorithm design will be translated into program in this very class. Now we'll start by looking at the concept of computer program. Computer program is like a recipe which contains a list of ingredients, that is variables, and a list of directions, that is statements, that tell the computer what to do with the variables. A computer program is therefore a set or sequence of instructions that enable the computer performs a specific task or job. These programs, as you know, are written by a computer programmer using programming languages such as the C, the C++, the Pascal, the BASIC. BASIC stands for Beginners All-Purpose Symbolic Instruction Code. Fortran stands for Formula Translator. COBOL, which stands for Common Business Oriented Language. Java, Visual Basic, Lisp, etc. So we will now look at the qualities or characteristics of a good program on the next slide. Now, for us to ensure quality of processing tasks by the computer, it requires appropriate instruction set known as program. Here are a few attributes or features or characteristics of a good program. Your program should be portable, that is, it should be able to fit in across all platforms, all operating systems. If you design a program, that program should be able to run on different platforms. Now your program should be readable, that is readability. Another user should be able to read your program. Another user should be able to understand and put your program into use. Now, number 3, efficiency. Your program should be designed in such a way that it will put the available resources into efficient use, such as the processor, the memory space, and so on and so forth. Your program should be structural. That's number 4. That is, if you have a complex problem to solve, your program should be able to break this problem into smaller ones and then bring them together at the end of the day. Now, flexibility. Your program should be flexible. Your program should be usable and learnable. That is, usability and learnability here means you design a program, users should be able to, use your program easily. They should find it easy to use and then easy to learn. Are we together? Reliability and efficiency. Efficiency is repeating here. On our reliability, your program should not fail when being used. That's reliability. Your program should be reliable, should be able to be used at all times. Now, there should be documentation too. A good program should have documentation. Documentation here means an information about the program and how to put the program into use. That's documentation. And of course, in our system development life cycle, we talked about documentation and the types of documentation, such as the technical documentation and then the user documentation. Now we have the last one, but not the least, security and safety. Looking at our today's world, your program should be secured and should be safe from all threats. There should be internal security for your program to avoid hacking and all threats, external threats. So that is about the characteristics of a good program. We'll now look at the steps involved in programming or processes of programming. Now the first step is you need to define the the problem you have at hand. You have a problem to solve. You need to define and analyze this problem. By defining, we mean you need to get the inputs, the processing, and the outputs that are required for solving that problem. Number 2, come up with the algorithm design and pseudocode. Pseudocode is just a twin brother of program. Now, after the algorithm design and pseudocode, we need to do the flowchart, draw out the flowchart of your problem, and then put this algorithm and flowcharting into code. That is, you start the coding at this step. That's number 4. After you've defined the problem and analyzed the problem, You also design your algorithm, you flowchart the algorithm, you now code, and then you compile. Compilation here means the process of converting or translating your source code into object code, that is the machine code. Of course, the computer doesn't understand any language other than zeros and ones, which is the machine language, and that is the object code. So program compilation takes place after coding. Then we have debugging. Debugging means fixing errors resulting from the coding. After coding, of course, nobody is perfect. There might be bugs, errors in your program. So fixing the errors is known as debugging. And then after you have fixed the errors, you now put the program into testing phase. You need to test the program, and then you do what we refer to as documentation and maintenance. All these steps are what you've done in our previous classes. Now we'll proceed. We will now go further into looking at program compilation. As I said before, compilation is the act of translating source codes, that is, the programs you have written in high-level languages or assembly languages, into the object codes, that is the machine language. Of course, these languages, programming languages, are not the computer's language. The computer language is called machine language. So after writing your program, there is need for compilation or translation. And there are three types of translators. The programs that are used to translate from one language into another are three. Now the first one is assembler. As the name implies, it translates from assembly language into the machine language, that is the object code. Now, interpreter. Interpreter interprets or translates from high-level language into an object code, that is the machine language. And it does the translation line by line. Interpreter does the translation line by line. Take notes. And lastly, we have the compiler. Compiler compiles everything, the entire source code, that is the program written in high-level language, at the same time into machine language, that is the object code. With this, we have come to the end of our class for today. Until we meet again in our next session, ensure you do the quiz. Attempt the quiz. Thank you.